Johnny wouldn't have did nothing better than what I got in my mind, which I don't understand. Johnny wanted to put some smile in my mind. I don't want no free. He wanted to give me some free shit that was way smaller than this. I don't want no free. I want my money and I want to go over the top, best of the best, biggest of the biggest, make it work.
A 20-year friendship in the Houston jewelry game just went nuclear, and the explosive truth behind Johnny Dang's $200 million empire is about to rock the entire hip-hop community to its core. Behind the diamond grills and million-dollar chains, Sauce Walka was running up serious money at Johnny Dang's shop for 2 decades. We're talking $500,000 purchases, countless chains, and loyalty that ran deeper than business. But when Sauce discovered he was getting finessed with overpriced jewelry and lab-grown diamonds passed off as natural stones, everything changed. The shocking truth behind what brought down one of hip-hop's most iconic jeweler relationships is more calculated and cutthroat than anyone imagined, and we're about to reveal it all, including the bombshell audio that has Johnny Dang scrambling to protect his reputation. Now, before we get into this wild ride, let me keep it 100 with y'all. Social media been buzzing about this Sauce Walka and Johnny Dang situation, with people picking sides and throwing around accusations. But yo, we about to separate the facts from the fiction, the real from the fake, because this story goes way deeper than just some rap beef. Now, hold up before y'all start thinking this was just some random internet drama. This wasn't beef between strangers or some manufactured controversy for clout. Johnny Dang and Sauce Walka had known each other for over 20 years. We're talking about a relationship that started when Sauce was coming up in the Houston scene, spending serious bread at Johnny's shop, building what seemed like unbreakable loyalty. But here's where it gets real spicy. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones positioning to play you the hardest. So check it. Let me paint this picture for y'all. Johnny Dang came to America from Vietnam with nothing but a dream and the hunger to make it in a foreign country. Started from a flea market booth in Houston, grinding every single day, learning English, building relationships with local artists who were just starting to blow up. This man turned that small operation into a $200 million jewelry empire, becoming the go-to jeweler for every major rapper from Houston to Atlanta to Los Angeles. But what made Johnny Dang's rise so calculated was how he specifically targeted the hip-hop market during its explosive growth in the early 2000s. While traditional jewelers were still stuck in old-school methods, Johnny understood that rappers wanted custom pieces that reflected their personalities and success. He wasn't just selling jewelry, he was selling status symbols, conversation pieces, and artistic expressions that could make or break an artist's image. The Houston hip-hop scene was the perfect launching pad. This wasn't just any city. Houston had birthed legends like DJ Screw, UGK, and was home to a thriving underground scene where artists were hungry to showcase their success through ice. Johnny positioned himself right in the middle of this cultural explosion, offering payment plans, custom designs, and personal relationships that made artists feel like family while they spent their advance money in touring profits. Now, in the hip-hop jewelry game, we know loyalty runs deep. When you find a jeweler who understands your vision, who can bring your wildest diamond dreams to life, you stick with them. You become family. That's exactly what happened between Johnny Dang and Sauce Walka. For 2 decades, Sauce was dropping serious money at Johnny's shop. We're talking about a $500,000 chain purchase, countless grills, pendants, bracelets, the whole nine. Sauce was a walking advertisement for Johnny Dang's craftsmanship. But yo, this is where the story gets deeper than just customer loyalty. See, while Sauce was spending hundreds of thousands and building Johnny's reputation in Houston, other artists, particularly out-of-town rappers, were getting special treatment that Sauce wasn't receiving. Johnny had developed a tiered system where certain celebrities got free promotional pieces, discounted rates, or exclusive access to new designs, while loyal local customers like Sauce were paying full freight for everything. The jewelry game operates on perception and exclusivity. When rappers see their favorite artist wearing pieces from a specific jeweler, they want to shop there too. Johnny understood this psychology and used it to build his empire. He would give high-profile artists free or discounted pieces in exchange for social media posts and public appearances wearing his jewelry. But longtime customers who had been supporting him before he was famous weren't getting those same benefits. The real kicker, though, according to industry sources, Johnny Dang had been running a calculated game on his rapper clientele. Word started circulating that he was charging premium prices for jewelry while using CVD diamonds, that's lab-grown artificial diamonds, and passing them off as natural stones. We're talking about rappers paying $50,000 to $100,000 for pieces they thought contained natural diamonds worth that price, when in reality they were getting lab-created stones worth a fraction of what they paid. The CVD diamond controversy runs deeper than most people realize. These lab-grown stones can be created in weeks rather than the millions of years it takes for natural diamonds to form underground. While they're chemically identical to natural diamonds, their market value is significantly lower. A natural 2-carat diamond might cost $20,000, while the same quality CVD diamond could be produced for $3,000 to $5,000. When jewelers charge natural diamond prices for lab-grown stones without disclosure, they're essentially committing fraud. Everything exploded when Walka debuted what he called the world's first permanent $1 million grill made by celebrity jeweler Jose Giomata. This wasn't just any piece of jewelry. This grill was encrusted with 3-carat and 1-carat rose gold diamonds, worth between $20,000 to $50,000 per tooth across all 28 teeth. The mathematical precision alone was staggering. We're talking about over 50 carats of premium diamonds meticulously set in a permanent mouthpiece. When unveiling it, Sauce said on camera, "I'm gonna take out Johnny Dangs and put in the Geos. I'm taking out these and upgrading to these." We went from $100,000 to $1 million, you know what I'm saying? We setting a bar, the standard in Texas so high that we cannot be beaten.
World's most expensive grill, man. Sauce Walka, Plug Geo, you dig?
I'm gonna take out the Johnny Dangs and put in the Geos. I'm sorry. I'm taking out these and I'm upgrading to these. Nothing. We went from 100,000 to 1 million. You know what I'm saying? Because we had to we setting the bar standard in the state of Texas so high that it cannot be beaten. Welcome to Texas.
That line right there, publicly comparing the two jewelers and framing the Johnny Dang grill as a downgrade, is what lit the fuse that burned down a 20-year relationship. But what made it even more devastating was the timing. Johnny Dang had been facing increased scrutiny about his business practices, and here was one of his most loyal customers publicly declaring that his work wasn't up to $1 million standards. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Jose Giomata, the jeweler who made that $1 million grill, wasn't just some random competitor. According to Johnny Dang's official business page, Gio was a former employee of Johnny Dang who abruptly stopped working for him in April 2021. This detail transforms the entire situation from a simple business competition to a personal betrayal involving insider knowledge. Let that sink in for a minute. From Johnny's perspective, Sauce didn't just switch jewelers. He went and gave a $1 million job to a man who used to work under Johnny, learned his techniques, understood his business model, knew his pricing strategies, and then left and went into direct competition with him. Plug Geo had been posting hashtag Johnny Who on social media for months, and some comments alleged that Geo was actually copying designs from Johnny Dang while undercutting his prices. The employee-turned-competitor narrative is particularly painful in immigrant business communities. Johnny had invested time training Geo, sharing trade secrets, and bringing him into the inner circle of his operation. When employees leave to start competing businesses using knowledge gained from their former employer, it creates a unique type of business betrayal that goes beyond normal market competition. The street's been talking, and what came out was explosive. Plug Geo had previously exposed Johnny Dang publicly, claiming he was underpaid after grossing Johnny Dang over $9 million in 1 year. Think about that number, $9 million in revenue from one employee's work, and according to Geo, he wasn't being compensated fairly for that contribution. But more importantly, Geo was also alleging that Johnny was selling rappers CVD diamonds instead of natural ones, basically confirming what industry insiders had been whispering about for years. Geo's insider knowledge made his allegations particularly damaging because he had access to Johnny's supplier relationships, pricing structures, and business operations. When someone with that level of insider information starts making public accusations about fraudulent business practices, it carries more weight than outsider speculation. The day after the grill reveal, Johnny Dang uploaded a heated 4-part response that revealed just how deep this betrayal cut. In the video, you can hear the pain and anger in his voice, and it's clear this hit him on multiple levels. business, personal, and cultural. He mentioned that he had already called Walka trying to get together for dinner to discuss creating a new grill and even potentially getting into business together. This suggests that Johnny knew there were issues in their relationship and was trying to address them before they became public. It's all good. You can shop around the world, you don't need to put my name in there. But if you mention my name, put some respect on my name. If not, keep the fucking my name out your mouth.
Fact.
Now, this is where we got to address what really happened behind the scenes. Rather than escalate aggressively, Sauce played it somewhat cool in his response, but also let slip what the real issue was all along. In Sauce's explanation of why he didn't go to Johnny for his $1 million grill, he breaks down his mindset with brutal honesty. Johnny don't want have did nothing better than what I got in my mind. I don't understand Johnny want to put some sense in my mind because he didn't want to go to size that I didn't want to go to because he ain't want to do what I wanted to do for the money I'm trying to drop. I ain't trying to do this. I don't want no free. He wanted to give me some free that was way smaller than this. I don't want no free. I want some my money, and I want to go over the top, best of the best, biggest of the biggest, make it work. Sauce's frustration becomes clear when he continues. That's not going to fit. It's not going to in your mouth, correct? It's not going to, I don't give a fuck if it's going to fit. Make it fit. So I went to that. Geo made it fit, made it happen. Give a damn about what you talking about. I don't want nothing for free. I don't want no free diamond, man. I want a free diamond boy chain for my people to pass it around with all my crew and rest of my gangsters. That's what is for all y'all said. I want the biggest diamonds possible. Going my teeth, uncomfortably comfortable. I knew it was going to make my lips poke out. That's the point. The real tea that got everybody shook is what that comment revealed. Sauce felt like Johnny Dang was giving out free jewelry and special treatment to out-of-town rappers and celebrities, while Sauce, a longtime Houston customer who had spent hundreds of thousands at his shop over 2 decades, wasn't getting that same treatment as a hometown artist. But what Sauce discovered was that Johnny was treating him like just another customer while rolling out the red carpet for artists who might drop big money once or twice but didn't have that deep, long-term relationship. Reports circulated that Sauce had previously asked Johnny for free jewelry and Johnny told him no. The same Johnny who was apparently giving free pieces to out-of-town celebrities for promotional purposes. According to Plug Geo's allegations, Johnny Dang had been running this scheme on multiple high-profile clients. Think about it. If you're charging $100,000 for a piece that contains $30,000 worth of CVD diamonds, you're making an extra $70,000 in profit while deceiving your customer about what they're actually buying. Multiply that across hundreds of high-end pieces over the years, and you're looking at millions of dollars in potentially fraudulent profits. The diamond certification system exists specifically to prevent this type of fraud. Natural diamonds come with certificates from organizations like GIA, Gemological Institute of America, that verify their origin and quality. Lab-grown diamonds should be clearly marked as such on their certificates. If Johnny was providing natural diamond certificates for lab-grown stones, that would constitute serious fraud that could result in criminal charges. The real kicker, though, this wasn't just about 1 or 2 pieces. Industry sources suggest this was a systematic practice that helped Johnny build that $200 million empire. When you're dealing with rappers who might not be experts in diamond quality but trust you as the professional, it's easy to take advantage of that trust. Many artists don't even request to see diamond certificates. They rely entirely on their jeweler's word about what they're purchasing. This scandal has implications that extend far beyond Johnny Dang's shop. If one of hip-hop's most trusted jewelers was allegedly engaging in these practices, it raises questions about the entire luxury jewelry market's relationship with the music industry. How many other jewelers are using similar tactics? How many artists have overpaid for pieces they thought contained natural diamonds? In the hood, we know that your city is supposed to have your back. Houston has a tight-knit hip-hop community, and when you make it, you're supposed to look out for your people. Johnny Dang built his entire reputation on being Houston's jeweler, the guy who understood the local scene and took care of local artists. The Houston hip-hop scene has always operated on principles of mutual support and loyalty. When local artists blow up, they're expected to bring opportunities back to the city, support local businesses, and maintain connections to the community that raised them. Johnny Dang benefited enormously from this cultural expectation. Houston artists didn't just buy from him because of his skill, but because he was seen as part of the local family. So when Sauce, one of Houston's most consistent customers over 2 decades, felt like he was being treated as a second-class client while out-of-town artists got VIP treatment, that violated the unwritten rules of the city. That's not just business betrayal, that's cultural betrayal of the community support system that helped build Johnny's empire. The real question is, How many other artists were getting the same treatment? If Johnny was systematically overcharging for CVD diamonds and giving preferential treatment to certain clients while neglecting loyal, long-term customers, Sauce's explosion wasn't just about his personal situation. It was about exposing a pattern that could affect the entire hip-hop jewelry market. But for Sauce Walka, this wasn't about disrespecting Johnny's come-up story or his achievements. This was about calling out what he saw as systematic disrespect and potentially fraudulent business practices that were hurting artists who trusted Johnny with their money. Sauce's willingness to speak publicly despite their long relationship shows how serious these issues had become. The resolution of their conflict, with both men eventually squashing the beef at a Houston community event, suggests that personal relationships can overcome business disputes. But the broader questions about transparency and fair dealing in the luxury jewelry market remain unresolved. At the end of the day, Sauce Walka's situation with Johnny Dang isn't just about two Houston figures having a disagreement over jewelry. It's about loyalty, respect, fair business practices, and what happens when trust breaks down in an industry built on personal relationships. The deeper lesson here is about the power dynamics in the hip-hop jewelry game. For decades, certain jewelers have held almost monopolistic control over the market, with artists trusting them completely without always understanding the technical aspects of what they're buying. When someone like Sauce Walka, with his platform and influence, publicly calls out questionable practices, it forces the entire industry to examine how business is being conducted. And Johnny Dang's rise from Vietnamese immigrant to $200 million jewelry mogul is genuinely inspiring. His story represents the American dream realized through hard work, cultural understanding, and building genuine relationships with his customers. But if that empire was built partly on overcharging loyal customers and using deceptive practices with diamond quality, then Sauce's expose was necessary to protect other artists from the same treatment. The CVD diamond controversy specifically represents a broader issue in luxury markets where customers rely on expert knowledge they don't possess themselves. When professionals abuse that trust for financial gain, it damages not just individual relationships, but the entire industry's credibility. The jewelry business depends on trust between artisan and client. When that trust is violated, it affects everyone in the market. This situation also highlights the evolving relationship between hip-hop artists and the businesses that serve them. As the culture has matured and artists have become more sophisticated about business, they're demanding the same level of transparency and professional service that any high-value customer would expect. The days of conducting major transactions based solely on personal relationships and handshake agreements are ending. The real question is what this means for the culture moving forward. Will other artists start demanding more transparency about what they're buying? Will jewelers be forced to provide clearer documentation about diamond quality and pricing? Will the industry shift toward more honest business practices that protect both artisans and customers? The financial implications alone suggest that change is inevitable. When artists are spending 6 and 7 figures on jewelry pieces, they need and deserve the same level of documentation and protection that any major purchase would include. This means detailed receipts, diamond certificates, clear descriptions of materials used, and honest pricing that reflects actual value rather than celebrity markup. Based on recent footage, Johnny Dang and Sauce Walka have reportedly squashed their beef at a community event in Houston. They linked up in person and resolved it publicly, keeping it H-Town. This resolution shows the power of face-to-face communication and the strength of community bonds that can overcome business disagreements. But the conversation their conflict started about transparency and fair dealing in the hip-hop jewelry game is far from over. What are your thoughts on Sauce Walka's decision to expose Johnny Dang's business practices? Do you think longtime customers deserve special treatment, or should business always be strictly business? And how do you feel about the CVD diamond allegations? Is that fraud or just smart business? The line between legitimate business practices and customer exploitation can be thin, especially in luxury markets where markup is often more about brand value than material cost. The street's been watching, and now they know the truth. Sometimes the biggest betrayals come from the people you trust the most, and in the jewelry game, that trust can cost you everything. This story demonstrates that even established business relationships need clear boundaries and honest communication to survive. Real talk. This story shows that even in hip-hop, you got to verify what you're buying and never assume that loyalty guarantees fair treatment. The culture is changing, and artists are getting smarter about protecting their investments. Johnny Dang built an empire, but Sauce Walka just reminded everyone that empires can crumble when the foundation isn't solid. The resolution between these two Houston legends proves that conflicts can be resolved with respect and understanding, but the lessons learned from their public dispute will influence how business is conducted in the jewelry game for years to come. Transparency isn't just good business practice. It's essential for maintaining the trust that luxury markets depend on. What do y'all think? Was Sauce right to expose this, or should he have handled it differently? The balance between personal loyalty and business ethics isn't always clear, especially when millions of dollars and decades of relationships are involved. Drop your thoughts below and make sure you're subscribed because we're about to dive into even more industry secrets that'll shock you. The jewelry game will never be the same after this controversy, and that might be exactly what the culture needed to mature and protect artists' investments in their image and success.
You know what I think? Trust no one.